from Paris. Hi there. We were talking there about the positive responses from most people. This has all been done ahead of time, yet Washington is not sounding as optimistic. Why this distrust, do you think?
Well, I don't think it's a question of distrust. I think the West is very, very desperate in Syria right now. They've been bogged down there now for 2 years with foreign mercenaries and foreign terrorist groups. They've been basically sending over the border from Turkey and from Lebanon and from Iraq and neighboring countries. So they are not really interested in disarming Syria. This is not a question of disarming Syria. This is basically a smokescreen. I think it proves the effectiveness of Russian diplomacy that they came up with this kind of a get-out clause, if you like, for the West. In other words, let's just get everybody to disarm and let's focus on the Syrian government. But this is not the issue here. What they're really trying to do is cover up for their own crimes, the crimes of the groups that they've been sending into Syria now since 2011. These are clerical fascist groups, extremists. They're funded by Saudi Arabia and Qatar and Israel. And what they're trying to do is to divert attention from the terrible atrocities being committed by these groups and blame the Assad government again. But there's absolutely no evidence whatsoever of the use of chemical weapons against the Syrian population by the Syrian government. It would be absolutely crazy and stupid. If you may not like Assad, but one thing Assad is certainly not is stupid.
And no evidence at all, just to clarify, as you see it anyway, that Damascus is trying to keep back any stockpiles at all, as you've just explained at length, yeah?
Well, Kevin, this is a rough neighbourhood. You have a country that has been in a kind of a siege mentality for many, many years. They're just next door to occupied Iraq. They've got territory occupied by Israel. This is a kind of a, weapons of mass destruction is the norm in the Middle East. I mean, you can't possibly survive in this kind of a neighborhood without some sort of lethal defense force in case of, Armageddon type warfare. But I don't think this is this whole disarmament thing. This is a kind of a repeat of what we saw in Iraq, the whole weapons of mass destruction formula again being used by the West as a smokescreen. I think they're desperate right now because it's very clear, and it has been clear from the very start, that the Syrian people are behind the government. There is no alternative. These groups are absolute psychopaths. They're committing unspeakable crimes.
So I just want to press you that,
really
okay, with everything you're saying, with everything you're saying in mind,
on chemical weapons issue.
Sorry to butt in. We're going to run short of time with those, because I want to talk about Geneva 2 then. With everything you've just said there, you're not surprised then that Geneva 2's been knocked on, no?
Look, the former French ambassador to Syria was caught on tape saying to the so-called representatives of the Syrian National Council recently, you are not worth the effort we make. That's what he said to them. Now, you have the French former ambassador saying that to guys who, want to actually rule Syria. Look, there is no opposition. These guys spend most of the time here behind me in Paris, living it up in expensive hotels. They don't represent the Syrian people. Therefore, they can't negotiate with the Syrian government, who do represent the Syrian people, or a very, very significant majority of the Syrian people. So there is no basis for negotiation, of course, and they're using very, very silly arguments like Assad should step down. Well, I mean, that's not a basis for negotiation. So this is why they're trying to stall it all the time, to see if they can basically reduce, through attrition and through a mass terror campaign, break the will of the Syrian people. And I don't see that happening. This is a very determined people. The army has a lot of morale. There's very, very high morale in the army. And they have massive support. They have massive support on the ground. So, but the West, I think, will be happy to continue with this war for the next 10, 15 years, 20 years. It all depends. But certainly what they don't want is to be in a position where they're going to have to back down. And so they're using every trick in the book, basically, to postpone any kind of reasonable dialogue with the Syrian government.
Gearoid, thanks for your thoughts. Thanks for being on the programme. Gearoid Colmain there, author and journalist, live from Paris.
Right.
Thank you for being with us. After the break, Complete Change Attack, we follow that record-breaking Olympic torch relay. It's going up to space, you know. Stay with us, we'll tell you more.
Does the media lead us or we lead the media?
Privacy versus security. All right, your party, where's it going?